got to stop this, for I am Nick Payne, better known as Agent Nick. Now, I'm ready. Hello?
Hey Nick, just reminding you that you have to review Madness Who today.
Oh yeah! Okay, I'll do that.
Good show.
Right then. We'll have to do that later. Right then. Okay, Madness Who? Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here and welcome to my review of Madness Who, the Doctor Who related, slightly Doctor Who related low budget fan film for YouTube, made by Daniel Sherratt for Five Who fans in 2011 for Era 7, or a couple of eras, but 7's the one it's on the Five Who fans Archives channel, as well as Sherratt Nation's own channel. This is interesting. It's just a bit of fun. There isn't really that much of a story. Well, there is a bit of a story, but it's mostly a bit of fun. It's just Dan Sherratt going around having a bit of fun and then trying to stop an alien invasion. Okay, story. One day, Daniel Sherratt is just doing his normal morning routine. He's on his own, and then suddenly, at 6 minutes after 10 AM, he falls through into a wormhole, where he ends up in a parallel universe. He's there for about 2 or 3 days. He meets this alien called Wiggly, who he kicks into the sky, screaming, "I'll get my revenge!" And then Dan finds that the TARDIS exists, and he sees that aliens are guarding it, but he notices that the key is... a drawing of the key is probably somewhere in Egypt, so he heads down to Egypt. Indiana Jones theme playing as a map of him going from Britain to Egypt via France and Italy. I think. Possibly. I think it's Italy. He definitely goes via Paris. Maybe Rome for the Colosseum. Yeah. And he gets to Egypt, he finds the key, but the aliens are fast on his trail, like they were back at Dover. So he uses a sonic screwdriver to take him round the world. Easter Island, New York, London, the world, before he reaches back to the TARDIS and manages to get out. And that's the end of episode 1. I should say that these, on both Five Who fans Archive and Sherratt Nation, they're 3 parts. They're 3 big parts. According to the Sherratt Nation description, they were originally 7 parts on the Five Who fans channel when they were originally released. But on Sherratt Nation, he edited them on to be 3 episodes, with the last one being known as the Madness Who Final. To be honest, you could probably get 3 episodes out of that one, 3 short episodes out of that one, and the others you'd have to do maybe 2 each, and that's 7. But 3 parts I think works better than 7. You know what would even be even better? A feature-length version, just 1 part. Well, I'll get to that story in a bit. I already told you in the update, but I'll get to the story again. So, in the 3-part version, episode 1, or part 1, ends here. And then part 2 begins with Sherrod in the TARDIS. You'll probably recognise this TARDIS from Five Who fans projects post 2012, mainly from The Ultimate Foe, as well as promo pictures for Aimless Wanderings, or at least a console. So Dan goes on a trip in the TARDIS. He plays around with the switches and buttons for a bit, and then he goes home. On his way, he sees he lands at a couple of other people's places and says hi. He sees Connor Chadwick, who doesn't get credited in the next episode because he's not in that. So he's uncredited if there was a full-length version without a sneaky little credit added in. He then bumps into Jamie Carroll, who's writing a script for Time Agent Series 17, Miracle Week. We haven't even got Series 4! Yeah, I think Series 17 is... I think that was supposed to be a joke. Because Series 17 would be like 2025 if they didn't skip years. Yeah. This year I think I worked out would be Series 9. Or 8. Let's see, 2013 would be 4. 14 would be 5. 15 would be 6. 16 would be 7. Okay, maybe 2026 and 17, okay, we'll be in Series 8 territory. Series 8, 9 at the moment, possibly. Now, and 2026 would be Series 17, if they even went up to 17. But as we're not getting 4, at least, not at least, we're only having 3. Oh, it's just wishful thinking. It's just a joke. But looks like Liam is going to be going in the TARDIS in that script. It's quite a funny scene with Jamie just dancing around this room before sitting down and typing the Series 17 script. That will never happen. Especially if Liam is killed off before Series 17, if they do make more. Series 3, it was implanted that he was killed off. But it was also implied he survived. Also, I should probably note that this is 2011, so this was before Series 3 had finished filming. Not filming, finished airing. It might have even been filmed before it even came out. So, after meeting Jamie Carroll, Dan goes into this non-space where he meets himself from 2010. I think October, he said, maybe August. Maybe that's when he started filming, and he just had himself bump into himself at that point. He then goes through the portal and then ends up back at his place at 11 o'clock AM, only 50 minutes after he left. I think, was it 50 minutes? No, only 54 minutes after he left. He left at 6 past. The next day, he's sitting down. I presume that was a Friday, and it's now Saturday. He's now sitting down. Oh no. He said in the next episode, he says that they've invaded on the Friday. So maybe that was a Thursday. No, I'm not sure. I can't remember the date. I think it was in August. Anyway, the next day, he sits down to watch television, and he's watching Time Agent. Time Agent is an official BBC TV series. Yes! This is, of course, again, wishful thinking. If only... Oh yeah, I should point out that in part 1 that he saw some alien flying sheep. Not alien, just flying sheep. In this episode, after there's some interference problem with the television, just as the titles are playing, Jan goes and looks outside and he sees the flying sheep and the alien spaceship. A alien spaceship. Before he's kidnapped by the aliens when one of them attacks his house. He then goes to the alien spaceship and discovers it's Wiggly, the worm creature, who's behind all of this. And Wiggly orders that Dan be killed by the aliens. End of part 2. Part 3 opens with Dan somehow surviving being shot by the alien, and meeting up with God, played by Alan Rafferty. God, or Alan, then shows Dan what's happening on Earth, with David McLaughlin and Matt Beal trying to fight off the aliens, with the law saying that anyone associated with Daniel Charette must be destroyed or converted. So Matt and David have to fight against them. There are no words from Matt, he's quiet. But David is kind of like this super-powered leader. As the leader of Five Who fans at the time, he's kind of in charge of them fighting against the aliens. So that's 4 members. I think Con Chadwick makes 5. I'm not sure. But he's not in this one. But sadly, the Five Who fans' powers do not work as David McLaughlin is converted. It's not the second, and it won't be the last time. See Five Who fans, The Takeover 2013. God then reveals to Dan that there's a way back, and he has to go back to 6 weeks later, and God sends him back there. When Dan gets there, he discovers that Earth has now become a big amusement park for Wiggly, and he heads off to stop him. Meanwhile, Henry Floyd from the Whovians makes a cameo as a news broadcaster, presenting a message from King Wiggly, as he's now known. But he then urges people to fight back, and before being converted. This is seen by Jamie Carroll, who then puts up, has the best scene in the entire story, and that's the one I parodied for the sketch, as well as twice for Earth Agents, and once for Universals. I think the second one for Earth Agents and the Universals ones are yet to come out, though. But, you know, and David McLaughlin kind of parodied it, sort of, after the Five Who fans are the Lost Files, the second documentary they did in 2013, for his next video on the Doctor Who spin-offs, he then kind of parodied this scene in his own way. And that's the scene where Agent Mortis goes, "Got to stop this." Not Agent Mortis. And that's the scene where Jamie Carroll goes, "Got to stop this, for I am Jamie Carroll, better known as Agent Mortis." And then we see him getting changed and putting on some sunglasses, and him about to deal with the problem before being called back in for tea. That's a funny scene. I love it. No wonder I parodied it 4 times by now. By that time of recording, I parodied it 4 times. I think, was it 4? Yes, 4 times. And it won't be the last. There won't. I mean, the one you see for the sketch will be the second uploaded, but by the end of the year there should be 4, maybe even 5. I don't know. I'm not sure what the 5th one will be. Something. It will certainly be in Series 3 of Earth Agents. Probably. And that'll be next year. So once Dan gets back to Earth, he disguises himself as the King of Holland, or the Netherlands, Jim, and manages to sneak through. God saves him from an alien, and he confronts Wiggly, takes him back to the day before, the morning before, and stuffs him in a bowl at 9:30. Once Dan's gone through the portal at 6 past, he heated his microwave at 3-4 past, so Wiggly in that bowl would be dead. So after Dan goes at 6 past, 4 minutes later, future Dan comes back at 10 past 10, takes Wiggly out of the bowl, turns off the radio, puts him outside, and buries him with stones. He then sends the TARDIS back to his other self, so he can go on the travel, and the aliens are allowed to stay, because they're not doing much harm. I also parodied this scene for The Lone Agent, the 4th wall breaking scene and the follow-up, except I changed the music. He then decides it's time to end with a song and a dance, and they sing "You Know You Make Me" by Frank Sinatra, I think it was. Yeah, because you know what you make me. And then he goes off to have a kind of a sing-song bit with the song playing and the aliens dancing, and then it's the credits. But Wiggly might be returning as an evil figure, unburies him, takes him out of his grave, and laughs evilly before an evil voice says, you shall return. And so ends part 3 of Madness Who, and indeed the story overall. So how does Madness Who stand out? Or stand up? Well, it is certainly very funny and very unique amongst Doctor Who fan films. It's just a bit of fun. He's just a guy going around trying to stop this alien invasion whilst having a bit of fun. He's doing quite comedic. There's some cameos. Jamie Carroll is great as Agent Mortis in that one little bit as Agent Mortis, and is great as himself in the rest. David McLaughlin does a great performance as himself. Matt Beale does a silent performance as himself, but he does a pretty great movement, so I'll give him a physical performance tick. Connor Chadwick has a great cameo. Sadly, he couldn't be credited. Who else was it? Henry Floyd, great cameo. People, fight back! Fight back! That wasn't very nice. Who else cameoed? Was that it? Yeah, I think that was it. And finally, the man himself, Daniel Sherratt. Great performance by Dan. He's really putting it all into into something he didn't really need to put all into. And it's still pretty great. The music is fantastic. I mean, aside from the Guardians of the Galaxy films, this is probably the best film, or if it was a film, that has the best non-original score when using music from elsewhere, music and songs. This is probably one of the best ones to not use a non-original score, along with Family and Christmas Bonding. And if we're counting official films, the Guardians of the Galaxy films with they have an original score. They use they take some of the pop music from the 70s and 80s and have them put in, like Hooked on a Feeling and Mr. Blue Sky. So it's a bit like that, except the entire thing is non-original. So yeah, besides from those and the Bonding trilogy films, at least the first 2 so far, the third one's not out yet, it's one of the best with a non-original score or with uses of popular music, pop music, and not just older ones, but also some of the new ones, such as So Long Effects Rule of Fish from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy 2005 film, and the Macarena, which is a slightly important plot point in the first part. Slightly, because that's what the aliens are dancing to, and Dan has a mention of it. He probably wonders if this is where they were coming from, and it also plays when the aliens are getting close in Egypt. The visuals are great. You can tell quite a lot was on a green screen, but the other visuals look brilliant. And whilst the story's not the best, it's still pretty enjoyable. And yeah, this is fun. This is just a fun story. Some slight issues with some of the editing at the end of the 3 parts. At the end of part 1 and going to part 2, and the same at the end of part 2 and going into part 3. There's some editing, so it's kind of just like if I was to make this a full-length one, it'd be kind of a bit of a jarring cut. So, and I'll get around to that story in a moment. But in the end, Madness Who is just a bit of fun. It's just enjoyable. It's really great. It's well made, and you can tell that everyone put all their best into doing it. I was thinking of doing a 7 out of 10, but because it's such a fun story, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'll let it be good. Yeah, it's really good. Right, story time. I messaged Daniel Sherratt because I enjoyed seeing this, but I thought, hey, this could be a one-part. We could see the entire thing in one go. It could just be one thing. It'd be about 35 minutes. So I messaged Dan, asking if I could edit the 3 episodes into a one solo feature-length episode. It took him a bit of a while to get back, and he said he didn't think it was necessary, but he was glad that I enjoyed it. So yeah, I was disappointed I couldn't do that, but I was glad he was happy I enjoyed it. And I got to message Daniel Sharat. This was on Twitter, by the way. I think he missed the one on the forum, Aimless Wandering forum. So I got to message Daniel Sharat. He knows me now. Maybe he did. Hopefully he'll know me again now with these vlogs. I'll give him a with thanks. With thanks to Daniel Sharat for saying hi. And for being glad I was happy with it. And I enjoyed it. So we probably won't be getting a full-length version, but we probably won't be seeing a 7-part version come back. I think we're just going to stick with these 3 episodes. To be honest, with the awkward cuts at the end of the episodes and start of the next ones, it's probably better that way. But still a bit of a disappointment. Oh well, doesn't matter. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not as bad as no more time agent. So that's it from Madness Who. Tune in for my next review, which will be Doctor Who: The Ultimate Conflict, and which will also be one of the Time Agent vlogs like this. And then we'll be going on to doing the spin-offs, and then I'll do those other 3 at the end of the game, Chasing Flower Aliens and The Lone Flower Alien, plus the rankings, which I might have to review out of order. I might have to do the rankings after a vlog or 2. But those will be put out after the remaining 3 vlogs, but they might be filmed beforehand. It's kind of a messed up schedule. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Right then. Let's go and deal with this alien menace. Curse this thing. Come on, you. Right. Now that's over. Oh, what now? Hello?
Hi Nick, just letting you know that incident is over. That Daniel Sharat person from Five Who fans stopped it.
Okay, cheers.
Bye!
Excuse me. And he's ordered to be killed by the flower. Got to stop this, for I am Nick Payne, better known as Agent Nick. I did that wrong. I'm not supposed to put on the Mortis voice. That's for the Ultimate Conflict sketch. We're doing so well too. Sorry, just positioning. Oh, you son of a bitch! Oh, still doing it. Oh yeah! Okay, I'll do that. Right, now that's over. No, I'm going to start again. Okay, cheers. Something for the bloopers. You want me to see my watch spinning? Does hurt. Woo. Might look more impressive in real life than on the camera. Boy, that does hurt. The grand finale. I have to duck really low for the above the head ones. And that's it.
Hey Nick, just reminding you that you have to review Madness Who today. Good show. Hi Nick, just letting you know that incident is over. That Daniel Sherritt person from Five Who fans stopped it. Bye! Okay, what have I just recorded?